What do you do if clients are too embarrassed to leave you a review on your Google business profile, or they just don't want to leave a review? I actually had somebody ask this question on a Facebook Live that I did recently. It was Mark Thomas, and he said that his clients love what they do, what he does for them, and they say they'll leave a review, but then they don't do it. And the reason why is because they don't want IRS investigators to recognize them, or they don't want their boss to find it, or something like that. And the reality is that there's some practice areas that is more difficult to get reviews. I used to work with a criminal defense attorney in Portland, and all he did was very serious sex offenses. And nobody really wants to go on Google and thank their attorney for getting those pesky sexual assault charges dropped, right? However, that being said, it is not an excuse not to get reviews. You absolutely have to get reviews, because I promise you your competitors are getting reviews. If your competitors have more reviews than you do, then you have got to figure out how to get reviews. One mistake that I see lawyers make, first of all, is they assume that people will not leave reviews. The reality is that about 25% of the people in any practice area, it doesn't matter which practice area, it doesn't even matter, not even law firms, like any business whatsoever, 25% of the people that you ask will actually leave a review. So off the bat, you have to understand that most people are not going to leave your review. So that means that if you need 10 reviews, if you want to get 10 reviews, you have to ask 40 people. Yes, there's some people that do not want to share their business online. However, if you go on social media, you'll see there's lots of people that have no problem airing out all their dirty laundry on social media, right? So there are some people that will thank you. What about practice areas that people don't necessarily want to have it in public, that they hire an attorney for this specific thing? Well, there's a lot of different things you can do. First of all, you need to ask every single client. And even if they're not going to say yes, even if a large percent of them won't do it, some of them will. I promise you, some of them will. And if you look at your competitors, Google your competitors, look how many reviews they have. And let me tell you what's not going to happen. What's not going to happen is somebody's going to go to Google and their search whatever your practice area is. So like tax attorney, right? And they see 2 law firms that have lots of reviews, and then there's 1 law firm that doesn't have any reviews. They're not going to look at that law firm that doesn't have a lot of reviews and say, oh, this is probably a great law firm, but their clients are probably just embarrassed to leave reviews, so I'm going to call them anyway. Like, that's not going to happen. They're going to call your competitors. Instead of saying they won't do it, instead of saying I can't get reviews, the more constructive thing to do is ask the question, how can I get reviews? Who can leave me reviews? How can I get more reviews? Those are the questions that you need to be asking yourself. So first and foremost, you need to ask every single client. Second, you need somebody at your law firm that owns getting reviews, that makes it their job. Give them a $50 or $100 bonus every time they get a review, because reviews equal money. You make so much more money when you have a lot of reviews, and you have to have somebody who owns it. So they have to ask for the review, and then they have to follow up with them, and they have to, say, hey, would you leave us that review? Would you leave us that review? And follow up with them, and then give them a bonus. Once there's skin in the game, then it will actually get done, because now there's an incentive for them. Now, the next thing is you need to give people a reason why to get reviews. And in a minute, I'm going to talk to you about how to get reviews from people that are not clients, right? But you need to give people a reason to leave your review. Most of the time, people will comply if you give them a reason for things. And there's lots of scientific, psychological research about this. There's a study done at Harvard by a social psychologist named Ellen Langer. And basically what she did is she found out that she can cut in front of the line at the Xerox machine. This is back in the 70s. As long as she gives a reason, even a weak reason. Like, she went to the front of the line and was like, hey, can I make some copies? I need to jump to the front of the line. I'm in a rush. And like 95% of the time she was able to cut. But that was a really good reason, right? Because she's late. But then she went back and just asked. She said, hey, can I jump to the front of the line? I need to make some copies. And even then, she was still able to jump to the front of the line 90% of the time. So then she went up and she said, hey, can I jump to the front of the line? And then she was only allowed to cut in front of the line 60% of the time, because she didn't give a reason. So my point is that when you give people a reason why you need the review, they're more likely to comply. One of the easiest things that you can do is you can say, listen, hiring an attorney is one of the most difficult decisions and potentially one of the most important decisions that somebody will ever make. And you're helping thousands of people who see this review. You're helping them make one of the potentially most difficult and most important decisions of their lives when you leave a review. That's why you need the review, right? And then writer's block is another reason people don't leave reviews, right? They don't know what to say. Give them 5 questions. You can say most people don't know what to say. They want to leave a review, but they don't know what to say. And we have found that typically the following 5 questions will give a pretty good review, and it'll give, when people, the best reviews answer the following 5 questions. Number 1, what was the problem you had before you hired us? Number 2, why did you pick us? Number 3, what do we do for you? Number 4, what were the results? And number 5, how did these results impact your life? If you send all that to them in an email and then you have somebody on top of it following up with them, you will get more reviews. I promise you, you will get more reviews. Now, let's talk about other people that can give you reviews that are not clients, because people that are not clients are more likely to give you reviews as well. So the first thing you can do is you can go to vendors. Who are the vendors that you spend $500 or more with every single year? Reach out to every single one of them and ask them to leave you a review. Another thing you can do is something called character reviews. I love character reviews because it doesn't have to be a client, but you can have friends, family, colleagues, other people like that leave you a review as well. They shouldn't lie and say they were a client. They can say, if I was ever in a situation where the IRS was coming for me, Mark Thomas is the first attorney that I would contact. He's knowledgeable, he knows the law, and he cares about his clients, and he will fight tooth and nail against the IRS. And that's the review, right? Like it doesn't have to be complicated. You can get friends, family, colleagues, everyone to give you reviews like that as well, character reviews. And that will build your review numbers up. It's a question of how can I get reviews? It's not saying clients won't leave me reviews, because the reality is if you look at your competitors and they have reviews, then you have to figure out, how do I get reviews? So it's never a lack of resources, it's always a lack of resourcefulness, right? But if you do those things, if you put somebody in charge of it, give them a reason, incentivize the person who's in charge of it, give them the questions, and then use character reviews, vendor reviews, things like that, I promise you'll get more reviews. So hopefully that helps, and let me know if that helps and if you have any other questions.